The late Iraqi violinist Jamil Bashir. Here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Our guest Julian Assange, co-founder of Wikileaks, has just posted on wikileaks.org this 2007 footage from the helicopter gunships that opened fire on Iraqi civilians in Baghdad. I want to play another clip. The voices of the cockpit laughing as a Bradley tank drives over the dead body of one of the Iraqi victims.
I just drove over a body. I just drove over a body.
Viper 5-2, report free change zone 4.
And here, the cockpit learns from soldiers on the ground that the victims include children. One voice says, well, it's their fault for bringing their kids to battle.
I've got 11 Iraqi KIAs, one small child wounded over.
Damn. Oh well.
Roger, we need a evac to the child. She's got a wound in the belly. I can't do anything here. She needs to get evac to us.
Oh, it's their fault for bringing their kids to a battle.
That's right.
After discovering the wounded children, a soldier on the ground says they should be taken to a nearby U.S. military hospital, but an order comes in to instead first hand the children over to Iraqi police, possibly delaying their treatment.
Negative on evac the two civilian kids to Russia. They're going to have the IPs link up us over here, break. And IPs will take them up to a local hospital, over.
That's your copy, over.
Julian Assange, co-founder of Wikileaks, explain what happened to the children. The children that you show in the video footage by circling their heads, that they are in the van.
Yeah, something important to remember is that the video we obtained and released is of substantially lower quality than what the pilots saw. This is because it was converted through many stages to digital. But even so, we can just see that there are in fact two children sitting in the front seat of that van, and subsequent witness reports also confirm that. So those children were extremely lucky to survive. The Apache helicopter was firing 30mm shells. That's shells this wide, normally used for armor piercing, and they shoot straight through buildings. Those children, the medic on the scene wanted to evacuate those children to the US military base at Rustamaya, approximately 8 kilometers away from the scene. The base has excellent medical facilities. Higher command denied that. We don't know the reason. Perhaps there was a legitimate reason, but it seems like the medic would be the person best placed to know what to do. Instead he is told to meet up and hand the children over to local police. We don't know what happens then, but our team that was in Baghdad, we partnered with the Icelandic state broadcasting service, RÚV, found the children over the weekend, this weekend, and interviewed them, and took their hospital records, and we have photographs of the scars of the stomach wounds and the chest wounds and arm wounds for those children. The boy in particular was extremely lucky to survive. He had a wound that came from the top of his body down his stomach, so very, very, very lucky. The mother says that she has been offered no compensation for the death of her husband, who was the driver of that van, and no assistance with the medical expenses of her children. And she says that there are ongoing medical expenses related to the daughter.
Julian Assange, what is happening now to wikileaks.org? What kind of response have you gotten? Can you talk about surveillance or possibly attempting to shut you down?
Well, a few weeks ago we released a 2008 counterintelligence report from the United States Army, 32 pages, that assessed quite a few articles that I had written and some of the other material we had released. So that includes the main manuals for Guantanamo Bay, which revealed falsification of records there and deliberate hiding of people from the Red Cross, a breach of the Geneva Conventions, and psychological torture, and many other things, and a report we released on the Battle of Fallujah. Once again, a classified US military report into what happened there, and clearly concerned that we were causing embarrassment to the US military by exposing human rights abuses, and some concern, doesn't seem to be legitimate, but some concern that the fine details of some material that we were releasing could, in theory, when combined with other detail, pose a threat to soldiers if insurgents got hold of that information. So that report sort of looks at different ways to destroy Wikileaks.org or fatally marginalize it. And because our primary asset is the trust that sources have in us, we have a reputation for having never had a source publicly exposed, and as far as I know, that reputation is true. It looks to see whether they can publicly expose some of our sources, prosecute US military whistleblowers, and in fact it uses the phrase whistleblowers, not people who are leaking indiscriminately, but prosecute US military whistleblowers in order to destabilize us and destroy what it calls our center of gravity, the trust that the public and sources have in us. It also looks at some other methods. It's careful to look at, to fine-tune the language that says that perhaps we could be hacked into and destabilized that way, or perhaps we could be fed information that was fraudulent, and therefore our reputation for integrity could be destroyed. Now, the report is careful on these last two to suggest that maybe other governments could do this. It seems like it's some kind of license for their claims. They speak about how Iran has blocked us on the internet and China has blocked us on the internet, and other governments of a similar type have condemned us. It lists Israel, and it also lists the case that we had against the Swiss bank in San Francisco in February 2008, a case which we conclusively won. But in the production of this video in Iceland, where most of the team was, over the last month, we did get a number of very unusual surveillance events. So I personally had people filming me covertly in cafes who, when confronted, run off so scared that they even dropped their cash, and not Icelanders, outsiders, although there also was some surveillance from Iceland. Our feeling is now that that surveillance may not have been related to this video. It may more likely have been related to leaks from the US Embassy in Iceland that we released. We're not sure of that, but there was appears to have been a following of me on an Icelandic air flight out of Iceland to an investigative journalism conference in Norway. We're not sure that there are records of 2 State Department employees on that plane,